Karnage Chronicles is a true VR RPG built from the ground up to fully immerse you in what VR has to offer. It was released on April 24th, 2017 into early access on Steam by developer Nordic Trolls. Karnage offers you an epic RPG dungeon crawl that focuses on exploration and combat, and as of September 2018 has also incorporated multiplayer. So what did we think of it? Just hang on and you'll find out. Hello everybody and welcome to the Thaco Gamers. My name is Matt.
And I'm Matt.
And today we're going to talk about Karnage Chronicles.
Karnage Chronicles with a K?
Yes, it is. Karnage Chronicles with a K. And this is the first video that we've done in this format, both with virtual reality.
Yes.
And also Matt and I have decided that we're going to start doing this in person. I don't know why, but it's just something that we decided to do. So we're going to talk about Karnage Chronicles, and I don't know, what do you want to say about the game, Matt?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun for virtual reality. It gave me a total body workout. And I think because it was me, you, and Adam,
yep.
My brother, and we were all playing it. And we played it for what, like 3 hours?
Oh my gosh, we played that one night. We played, I think it was 3 or 4 hours.
It was crazy.
Ridiculous.
And the next day, Adam told the story about how he woke up late for work. And he just said, screw it, I'm late, so I'm just going to take my time. But I think at about the same time he texted me, I had just texted you about how sore I was from playing the game. And I mean, because I was playing a warrior, and you both were playing archers, and those are the two classes in the game, are the warriors and the archers.
Yeah.
And the warriors start out with a shield and a sword, and the archers have their bow. And, well, I guess the warriors have a crossbow as well.
Yeah, everyone has ranged and melee, but for me being an archer, my melee was just a couple of daggers, and for Matt being ranged, it just had a crossbow that he had to crank up.
It's freaking awesome. Dude, just the motions and the actual controlling of your character in that game I thought was really cool. They did it really well.
Yeah.
So the two characters, the warrior and the archers, you're going like this all day long.
And by the end, I started like 90s gangster side shooting.
Yeah, that's
for a while because
hold it this way,
these muscles hurt, so I started turning it that way, and I was holding it out once, and my hand was just shaking because I'd been shooting for so long.
I don't know why I did it, because I could just hold the shield like this, but I was holding my arm like this the whole time. So I'm sitting there like this, and I've got my arm, my sword arm up like this, and I'm swinging because you've got goblins. I think they're goblins or kobolds in this game. And there's so many of them. There's just tons of them. And they come at you, and me being the warrior, I'm on the front line trying to protect these guys, shooting over my shoulders or shooting my shoulders. Every now and then I gotta pull an arrow out of my back. And so I've got my shield up, and I'm swinging back and forth, and I'm just making this motion over and over and over again, for 3 hours. And dude, man, I woke up, my core was just tight and sore. I'm sitting there at work, and I'm like, dang, man. I can't believe the guy that I work with, the PA that I work with, is like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I worked out for the first time in 20 years.
By playing a video game.
It
was pretty ridiculous.
It was awesome. It was so much fun, though. I mean, Karnage Chronicles, by far, is one of the most fun VR games that I've played.
I think so, too. The fact that it's multiplayer helps a lot.
It does.
It still has that issue that VR games have, to where they're just not long enough, and they're and I don't know why. You can make a VR game in depth, but it's not to that point yet. But it's, as far as everything that I've done so far, we had a blast.
We did.
I had a lot of fun playing. I think you can play up to 4 people. We had 3 of us.
Yeah. And I think it took all of about 2 minutes of all 3 of us in the game before we started fighting each other. I'm literally in the shop looking at things and picking up items and looking at them and seeing what they do, and all of a sudden, boom, I get hit with an arrow. This is before you even jumped on. Me and Adam were in there.
Yeah, probably.
And I get hit with an arrow, and Adam starts laughing. I'm like, son of a... And I pull it out, and I rush him with my sword, and I'm fighting him, and he's jumping around and doing all crazy stuff with his bow and arrow. And then Matt logs in. It was over. It was 2 archers against a warrior at that point.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. And the avatars I think they're pretty sweet.
Yeah,
you can actually see the other people, and it's just their armor, their weapons, and their head, and it's like
it's basically
spirit.
just their armor. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a little spirit, avatar that floats around
with a helmet,
cool.
the chest piece, and a
arrows
weapons
sticking out of them.
And it's cool. They did a good job with interacting. Like at one point, I was reading. I found a note on the ground, and I'm reading it. I'm reading the note, and Matt says, "Give me that," and plucks it out of my hand.
And I start reading it.
So and
or
then
he's like, "Read this," and he holds
and I held it up to his face. Or
so
you
cool.
were, or Matt was. Like a lot of games, you have to eat food in order to gain health back. And Matt pulled like an apple out of his inventory, and I grabbed it from him real quick and ate it and ran away.
Looking around, seeing if I dropped it. But yeah, oh man, the interaction in that game, just playing it solo, I don't think would give it that much of a vibe. But the fact that it is multiplayer is awesome.
It's done very well.
It has
very
done
cool.
very well.
So I think we're gonna move on to pros and cons here. So I will let you. We have our pros and cons sheets.
Like official newscasters.
Official newscasters.
This just in, Karnage Chronicles, pros and cons. My number 1 pro is the multiplayer function in VR environments. That is your number
also
one.
My
as
number
well.
1 pro is VR multiplayer. So
VR, I think, is meant for multiplayer.
It's so much better.
It is so much better. Like any game, really. If you play it with another person, you're sharing that experience. But when you're doing it in VR, it's like you're sharing it with them in the same room, even though you're not. It's just, it feels really good. The gameplay, there wasn't any lag.
No.
Between us.
I don't think so.
So,
which I was surprised. I was expecting a little bit of that, and there wasn't any of it.
There wasn't, especially when we were fighting each other.
So that's my first pro. That's yours. What's your second pro?
My second pro would be the actual gameplay, including locomotion, the way that you move. There's different there's different ways that you can move. You can do the teleport, or you can actually just use the thumbstick and move your character around. I don't know if you did the 90-degree or 80-degree.
I need the snap. When you have it to where it runs smooth, I get a little bit of the vertigo. I can handle it with anything else in VR, but the turning left and right. So I do a snap at 45-degree angles.
I do the smooth.
Do you?
Yeah, I can handle it, but man, I'll tell you what, dude. About 20 minutes into it, I'm completely turned away from my computer desk. I am halfway in the other room, and I'm like all over the place.
It is funny.
But yeah, I got to keep looking down because it does give you a center.
Lets you know where the center of your room is, so you can recombobulate yourself on occasion.
You'll have to a lot, especially because there's so much stuff going on. There's those little acid shooting bugs that are all over the place, and I'm jumping in my room. I'm jumping, and there was that one part where we came around this corner. There's 3 exits to this room that we went in, and these wolves came around the side, and I got so excited that I went to hit one, and I punched my microphone, and I thought that I actually punched a wolf, and I was like, oh my god, I pulled my hand back, and I was like, oh okay, this is a game. I'm in a game. But yeah, it was so funny because I felt like, because I hit the soft portion of my mic, and I was like, it felt like a wolf.
Felt fleshy.
It felt like actually punching a wolf. So if anybody's ever punched a wolf in real life,
it feels a
lot like punching a microphone. It was awesome.
That's funny.
So that's my number 2 pro. What's your number 2 pro?
My number 2 is the leveling up loot. It actually gave me a feeling of like the old school Zelda on NES.
Yeah.
I like growing up in that area with like the original Dragon Warrior games and Zelda and stuff like that. Like the very simple, these are your 4 or 5 tiers of armor and weapons and stuff like that. And I think VR needs it to be less complex when it comes to that, because when you're in the world, you don't want to spend all of your time in these menus min-maxing stats and everything else.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead.
I do wish there was a little bit more. Because it seemed like there was 4 weapons, 4 pieces of armor, 2 shields, maybe for each class. and maybe a little more min-maxing or could go on. But I mean, basically, maybe just more gear, because each piece of gear just upgraded your health. That was it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just so you could take more damage.
And a little bit more strength in your weapons when you get those. They do more damage. No, I totally agree with that. I like the simplified version of the way they do it, but I would like that there was more. But like the other games that are similar to that, like Vanishing Realms and stuff, there's no... Well, I guess there is a little bit in there. There's no armor, though, I don't think, in that one. It just had swords and stuff. But I do like that we actually got to go out, earn money, come back, spend it, get better gear, be a little bit stronger when you're out there. So that's my number 2. So what's your number 3?
My number 3 was the active combat, obviously, because it's VR.
Sure.
It's so active. It's so active you're going to be sore afterwards. It's fast-paced. There's tons of monsters. The boss fights are actually really cool, and they're pretty tough.
They're pretty epic, actually.
They are, man. That Griffin, the second boss, actually, I didn't even realize it was a boss, but the goblins on those pedestals, that the mages that were firing things down at us, and we just had to plug them off. I didn't realize that was an actual boss, but the Griffin and the end boss.
Wasn't there a big spider boss?
The big spider boss, yeah. So the big spider boss was really cool when it first came out. It scared the crap out of me. So the Griffin was really cool. The spider was really cool. The goblins were okay. I mean, it was kind of like it almost reminded me of Lord of the Rings, the movie when they're running across the bridge.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mines.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden these goblins pop up, and you're just like, oh my god, I'm surrounded. And what do? You just gotta beat the crap out of them all.
Just let the arrows fly.
And so it gets intense. You know, I mean, it gets intense.
Agree.
You're
totally
actively working to kill these things, and they're good shots.
They are. And they dodge.
And they dodge. They dodge really well.
You gotta kind of anticipate where they might try to dodge. Or Adam and I would shoot at the same time in different areas, so they dodge mine and go into his.
Yeah, so it was really cool. So what's your number 3?
My number 3 was the dungeons themselves, which goes along a lot with what you're saying, because they're not randomized, they're handcrafted.
Right.
And because of that, they did a good job of, you run corridors and the way things link up, and guys over on the other side, there can be people shooting at you over a big cavern.
Yeah.
If you take the time to take them out, that makes it better for you when you come around later, because they'll come running up.
I did notice that. I did like the layouts, and they look amazing.
They do. They look really good.
They look really good.
Even though it's a stylized, cartoony look, it's
really good.
Totally immersive. You don't feel... I honestly am kind of learning that I'm preferring that in VR. It might be the
cartoony-ish.
It might be the limitation of the headsets, but they can... things that are meant in VR to look real look noticeably not real to me, but when you get the cartoony stuff, it can be more crisp in there, and it just, to me, I like it.
I don't know if I want to be in a VR game where a goblin looks like a real life goblin, because I would come out and freak myself out in the house. I'd be walking around, late at night or something like that, and I would hear something, and I'm like, oh, is a goblin in my house? Is there really a goblin?
All right, so cons. I'll go first on cons. My first con, and this is actually something you mentioned with the leveling up when I said that was a pro, the game is short. It has that issue with that a lot of VR games have right now, just that there's not a lot of length to them. I think you could probably play through the whole thing in, what would you say, 3 or 4 hours, probably?
Yeah, I think, because we played for probably about 3 or 4 hours, and we were on the end boss. And we played it on hard, and there's a insane, or what is it called?
There's another
difficulty above that, but there's 4 difficulties. We did the 3rd out of the 4th, and it was pretty tough.
But yeah, the game itself is just short. So you play through, and then you can just basically replay through the same game with a little bit more intensity to it. And that's why, the game stops at 4 hours. The loot that you can get, that you can buy, stops after 4 tiers. Like, everything could that game could go on.
Everything is based on 4s.
It is, oh my God.
It's like 23. Jim Carrey? Where are you?
All right, what was your number 1?
So my number 1 con, your number 1 was actually my number 2, the limited dungeons and content.
Okay.
So my number 1 is there's only 2 classes, and I get it. it's a VR game, and you know you've got your fighter and you've got your archer, you've got your close range and your long range.
Sure.
I would have liked to see maybe a mage that throws potions.
That would have been cool.
Or throws spells
fireballs,
or does little
lightning.
Yeah, lightning, that kind of stuff. I would have liked to see something like that, but I understand why they did it. But that's kind of a drawback for me.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, 100%. My next one is the enemy variety. If you want to kill wolves and goblins, this is your game. Well, if you want to kill...
There's wolves, goblins...
And spiders, I guess.
Spiders. There's the little bees, the venom-shooting bees. And then there's a giant spider, a giant variety of spider. There's the griffin...
There was one griffin boss, and then the big boss guy at the end.
Big ogre boss guy. But yeah,
but so for the most part, I mean, it's not the
7 or 8 different. Yeah.
So I would like to have seen a little bit more variety, but that's just me in that. So
yeah,
and then
I like that one.
What's your next con?
So my next one will actually be the third one.
Yep.
They give you a quarters. They give you like an area to make your own, or kind of like a housing almost. Yeah, and they've got like a chest in the corner. They've got trophies up on the wall of the creatures that you kill, which there's only 4 creatures in the game, so I don't know why they did that. But you can't do anything else there.
Yeah.
You know, they give you this area, and maybe they'll add on to it later, but as of right now, they give you this area and there's nothing to do in it.
Yeah.
You know, so that was kind of a bummer to me.
My last con is that there were some glitches. There was one point where one of the goblin guys was there and took off, and was there and took off. And,
see, I didn't see any of that.
I was asking Adam. Adam was there at the same time. He said that he didn't see it either, so it might have just been on my end of it.
Or something like that. Yeah.
But it wasn't bad. There wasn't a ton of it, but there were a few things like that I experienced. And there were times when I felt like we cleared out a room, and then we came back to it, and it was totally full again. And I didn't know if that was intentional. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like we'd be backtracking, and it'd be like there was like 100 guys in here all of a sudden, and then we're separated, and it's like Gauntlet, where they just keep spawning and spawning and spawning out of there.
You gotta find the monster spawner and destroy it.
So, but overall, I really liked it. I thought it was a good game, especially for VR. And what's your rating on this? What would you give it?
So I gave it a total score of a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
4 dead archer goblins and 3 sore muscle groups. So we're gonna split it up that way.
3 sore muscle groups is good. I like that. I gave it 6 accidental friendly fire arrows to the back.
God, no doubt. God, I felt every single one of them too, man. Either that or in my helmet, and I look around, there's an arrow sticking up.
Yep.
And when you pluck it out, there's that blood spurt.
Yep. And the sound to go with it.
Yeah. Or you just clank it off your shield with your sword.
Yeah, smash, cut it off. So, I'd shoot you with arrows, and you'd go through and cut them off after a battle.
So, yeah.
So there you go.
All in all, I think it's a pretty good game.
I agree.
Would definitely pick it up if you have a VR headset.
It's good. If you like RPG, dungeon crawl type games, it's an excellent game. You won't be disappointed. So, thank you for joining us on the Thaco Gamers today as we talked about Karnage Chronicles and VR and everything else. Make sure you subscribe to this video. If you want to do that, feel free to leave comments down the bottom. Other games you'd like us to look at some other time, or also if you have anything you'd like to say about Karnage Chronicles, we'd appreciate it.
This is the legal advertisement. Jesus. Click. Thumbs up.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.